In today's video, I just want to introduce you guys to the Chrome DevTools MCP. It's basically your AI agent's new set of eyes inside the browser. So this was announced some weeks ago, right? And I know not a lot of you have actually tried it out. And I just want to show you what it actually does and how you can set it up. The main problem it solves when you're working with your AI agents and they generate code for you. The AI agent actually doesn't have the idea of what happens when the code runs, right? It cannot see the DOM, it cannot read your console, it cannot inspect the CSS, right? So your AI agent are basically kind of working blindfolded. So what the Chrome DevTools MCP does is to remove that blindfold or to remove that layer, which lets your AI agent to connect directly to your browser, inspect what's happening in real time, and actually help identify and debug issues more accurately. So in this video, I'll just walk you through a small React application, right? And we try breaking some few things on purpose and see how the Chrome DevTools MCP helps us debug them. Before we do that, let's quickly look at the announcements on the Chrome for Developers site. So Chrome DevTools MCP for your AI agent, right? So we are launching it today a preview for the new Chrome DevTools MCP server, bringing the power of Chrome DevTools to your code, to your AI coding assistant. So it's the MCP. If you want to read what's an MCP, right? So it's just an open standard for connecting large um, language models, your LLMs, right, to external tools and data sources. So what can you use this MCP server for that was provided from the Chrome team? We can use it to verify in the browser that your change works as expected. We can use it to diagnose network and console errors. We can simulate user behaviors like click, navigating out forms and all. We can debug live styling and layout issues. We can automate performance audits. Okay, so that means basically you can say, okay, for Google is running too slow, right? Make it load faster. And it actually can see the performance audits in the Chrome Dev tool and knows what to fix and what to take out to make your application faster. Amazing, right? So that's just the basic idea around the Chrome DevTools MCPs. Let's quickly just jump into code. Okay, what we just have here is a React application by the side, right? So it's a very, very simple React application that fetches some data and lists out the data, right? Which is just some cat images. So we're just gonna call this a cat gallery, all right? And we are just using a use effect with our API to fetch the data. Then we're looping through the data in our JSX down there, which is quite very basic, right? Then for our styling, we're just going with our vanilla CSS, pure CSS, to style this, and we can see how this actually looks. So this is looking wrong. So we broke this on purpose just to see how the MCP is going to help us solve this in real time. Now, for the coding agent I'll be using in this video, I'll be making use of the Gemini CLI. All right. Now, the MCP is provided for other kind of AI agents. If you're using Cloud Code, you're using Client, you're using Cursor, right, or any other one, or VS Code or Copilot, you can actually still use this MCP. But for our case, we're just gonna use it for Gemini CLI. So I think we just have to jump into documentation and see how we can even make use of it. So this is the documentation here on Chrome Dev 2, right? And we're just gonna scroll down here and you can see for our case we're using Gemini CLI. We're just gonna take this command, all right, and say, okay, we want to make use of this for our Gemini CLI, and we already have Gemini, right? We already have the Gemini CLI installed, so we just have to make use of that command, which is, let me just show you the command real quick. Hope this is viewable. Okay, so Gemini MCP add Chrome Dev2 MPX, Chrome Dev2 MCP at latest. I already have this installed on my local, right? So for your case, you just run this command in your terminal once you have Gemini CLI already installed. So once you do that, it shows you the notification that, oh, this has been installed. This MCP has been integrated with my code agent. Okay, so now let's just run an example and see what happens. So we can say, take a look at the browser. Seems our layout is wrong, right? We can now say, okay, use the Chrome Dev to MCP. Okay, so it says we've passed the delete limit for Gemini 2.5 Pro. Okay, so we're just gonna use Flash, which is okay. So we're just gonna run the message again. Okay, so I just want to show you this message. So the MCP server is being used at this point, right? So it says it actually wants to navigate to our page. So MCP server Chrome Dev 2 is making use of a tool called navigate page, right? Allow execution of MCP to navigate page for Chrome Dev 2. So let's just do allow once, right? And see. Once we do that, our MCP, right, automatically opens an instance of our Chrome tab, right, which contains our application running. So we can see this right now. This is actually open from our terminal. So it says Chrome is being controlled by an automated test software. Okay, so amazing. Okay, we've already taken a look, right? What did you notice? Okay, what did you notice? Did you notice about my app layout and fix it for us? Okay, so now it's trying to make use of the next two, which is take snapshots. So the MCP wants to take a snapshot of the browser, right? You want to take a snapshot of what the browser looks like. So you can have an idea of okay, what is breaking. That's actually gonna help the agent, right, know how to debug the code and say, okay, our application is looking bad, something is wrong. And if something is wrong, we have to look into the CSS because the layout is not properly arranged. And we can look at the CSS and see if there's a wrong CSS value used or it's not written properly. So we're just going to do allow once. So it's analyzing the sequence, which is the image, right? Then it's examining the layout, as you can see. Then it's reading the file, reading our app.css file. Then it's adjusting the grid display. And there's a new change, right? Applying this change. Okay, so we just apply once and refining grid implementation. Then now we can take a snapshot again to confirm if it has fixed the particular issue. We can do allow once for this too. Examines okay, amazing. So you can see it says the layout issue has been resolved. I have updated the app.css to use grid for the grid class. We should arrange the cat images in a responsive grid with appropriate spacing. There was no console error after the update. Amazing. So if I bring this in here, we didn't have to write any code. And Gemini CLI, right, definitely was able to fix this issue because it has an idea with from the help of our MCP, right? Our Chrome DevTools MCP. That's okay. This is how this looks like, takes a snapshot of what it looks like, right? Then it helps the AI agents fix this particular issue for us. Amazing. So just to show you another example again, we're just gonna go into our code. We are gonna mess up the fetch of our API here. All right. So instead of making use of the API, this particular API, we're just gonna make a change to images. So this actually breaks. So we can say images with three S's, all right, which definitely we know is gonna break. So once we go back to our application, let's take a look at this. We've changed the API. Remember, this is fetching from an API. Now there is no data here. We're just gonna ask our coding agent and say, okay, what's wrong? What's going on actually? Okay, so we're just gonna say, take a look, right? My cat images aren't showing up anymore, right? Now it's asking us to say, okay, are you gonna allow me make use of the list of console messages? So I want to check the console. So the MCP want to check the console, right, to see if there's an error because that's like if you're a developer, all right, or you're an experienced developer, you always understand that when such issue happen, the first thing you always want to check is the console, all right. You always want to check the console. You always want to check the network tab if there's an issue with the API or maybe there's a course error or we're trying to hit the wrong API, the base URL is wrong. So that's the same thing our AI agents, Gemini, right, is trying to do there with the help of our MCP server, the Chrome DevTools MCP server. So we're just gonna say allow once. So it's gonna check the console messages. It has gotten the console messages that says it's 404. We can see it's web fetch, right? It's basically seeing that there's an issue with our URL to fetch. Do you want to proceed? So once we say proceed, our AI agent, right, or our AI assistant is going to go in there and fix the typo error and make sure that this actually works. So let's just wait for this to happen in real time. Now, allow execution of MCP2 to navigate, right, to navigate page from server Chrome DevTools. Okay, so you can navigate to our local host, take a look and see if that fixes the issue. So it's going to check the console again after fixing the issue, if that issue also exists or it still exists, right? Now, okay, so it's going to check the network request. Actually want to check the network request to see what's actually going wrong. So this is all happening behind the scene and trying to like, okay, what's going on? Why is this happening? Okay, apply this change. Okay, let's see what's happening. Then it says, okay, there's a typo, allow once. Yep, check the network request again. At this point, we should have it 200 because it has fixed it, right? So it says the cat images should be displaying correctly, all right? The typo in the API endpoint URL, images to images, has been fixed. And the network request confirmed that the images are now loading successfully. Our MCP gives the power to our AI agents to see our network requests, to see our console, to see if the images are showing. Because, like I said in the beginning, the main idea around the Chrome DevTools MCP is just to give us the power, or just to give the coding agents the power to see the browser, to see the console, to see the network tab, to be able to interact with this application, to be able to see this issues happening in real time, instead of just trying to debug based on the code that's already existing. So our coding agent, right, or our AI agent wasn't guessing. It actually saw what was happening in the browser, just like we would in a dev tool. Right? It inspect the styles, looked at the network tabs and the network log, it verified the fixes. That's what the MCP integration makes possible, right? So if you want, you can actually try this out. You need the Chrome DevTools MCP server, and using them with your coding agent like Gemini CLI. I'll drop a link to the setup in the description. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.